Just
We
go.
didn't go?
No, we're
all
going
right.
now.
Oh,
Okay. Fantastic start. As no one says a thing. All right. Hello. Welcome to the new podcast. You know what? I'll introduce you to a fucking wall.
Yeah,
Welcome to the... Yeah, because, my flimsy noodle arms can do that. Now, shut up. Welcome to episode 3?
Or is this
Two.
2?
Three?
Two.
Two.
It's 2.
Yeah, this is number 2.
Oh, yeah, actually, in episode 0. I can count. Where this week we're actually going to be talking about video games again, since we spent most of last time's going on about shitty business practices in the video game industry.
Mostly just the industry. I don't think we really talked about any games.
Well, at the very end, we spoke about some for
Yeah,
a brief 10-minute period.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, next topic.
Well, this is the perfect one to do right now for something very popular and brand new. Apex Legends.
Ooh, that's a good game.
I
That
like
gets
the
me
game
hard.
less the more I play.
What? I like it more the better I get.
I haven't been getting better. Like, maybe I need to try different characters, different play styles, but it feels like I'm terrible at tracking with people. So it's like I can't track them for the whole clip, and you don't have a whole lot of ammo in each thing. And it's like I
This is
just
true.
run out of ammo, and then they have an LMG usually or a shotgun, and they just kill me all the time, and it's annoying.
Mag sizes are painful, and the movement is a little bit unpredictable sometimes. Like, I don't think it's where it's like Fortnite level where people start building stuff as they're moving in like weird ways that makes me like not want to play anymore. But it's still weird movement where I swear I'm tracking them really well, and then I totally whiff shots, and I'm like, what happened? What did
I
that
don't
do?
understand the movement because sometimes it feels really fast, and then sometimes it feels like you can't move at all. And I also haven't gotten down when you're able to slide or when you just crouch.
That's a
It's-
sprinting thing.
Yeah, you do that
Yeah.
when you're sprinting.
But you have to be sprinting for a little bit. You can't just like
Yeah, you can't just sprint and
press
go.
shift.
Because it's like I want to do it in gunfights because I don't want to just stand still. But it's I don't know.
No, I
people
don't
can
think-
do it.
I don't think sliding's the way to go in gunfights. When it's to get, as long as you're at an ADS gunfight, I think the way to go is get closer and do hops.
Bunny
That's
hop
worked
it?
well.
Yeah.
That's worked well for me. Hops and random strafes. My problem is I can't get strafing down right. I either strafe too consistently, or I don't strafe at all, and that's even worse. But like I go, it's like I go left for half a hold, go right for half a hold, left, right, and it's like that's not that's not helping me.
I've
No,
just
you're just
always
giving
been
them
shit
pattern.
at battle royales.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah,
no. I'm typically bad at any game where you hold a gun.
I don't know. Something about battle royales, I could never get a hold of them, and I'm always garbage, no matter how long I play them for.
Who did we win with, Tristan? Was it Josh?
Yeah. It was... Yes, it was Josh.
Wait, has Brian or Simser won any yet?
I haven't won at all.
Okay.
We got kind of
only won-
close. We had a good game, but we got screwed by zone.
Yeah, I remember that. In that Brian, that zone is infamous for me now. Like if I see that hill in that freaking shantytown, I am going the other direction. Every time I go there, I either get in an awful gunfight that takes so much resources, or I die.
Also, that game, I think I got 1 kill or something like that, but I had over 1,000 damage.
Yeah.
The shield recharge is way too fast. Like, I was dumping whole mags into people. I would break their shield. By the time I reloaded their shield, they already had their shield back to full. And it's like, okay, come on, buddy.
See, in order to really take out a squad of people, or really anyone in this game, you need to be hyper aggressive and don't give them time. You need to get in close.
The problem is when I'm hyper aggressive with, I forget exactly who I was playing with. I think it was like Tristan and Josh. The problem I had was when I was hyper aggressive, and if I would try to move up or something, I found that I was 1v3ing like all the time, and I would get one down and then
That
just
is a problem I have playing with Tristan usually. Me and Josh have a very similar playstyle speed, so it works well. Normally he starts engaging as soon as I start finishing a flank, so it plays off pretty well. But playing with Tristan, we dropped in an area and it was a heavy contested area. I think 2 other squads dropped with us. Tristan's like, I don't have a gun. Like someone's chasing Tristan, who has a gun, not a big gun, but a gun, and I have the freaking pistol, not the wingman, not the
the
auto pistol,
Oh,
the pistol.
why is that in the
The
game?
P2.
Yeah, the P2. I just for instances where you drop and it's like I don't have a gun, now I have a gun. So if I find someone who doesn't have a gun, I have the advantage. But anyways, I drop in. Tristan's getting chased by the guy. So I'm like, okay, I'll go help Tristan since I have a gun. Together we can probably take him down. I get there. Tristan goes, I don't have a gun, see you, and runs away as I'm fighting the guy. You know what happens as I'm fighting that guy? His teammate comes in and starts punching me. His teammate doesn't have a gun. Guess what? He came to help.
I've stopped doing that though. I have started just saying, fuck it, I want to punch him in the face.
Tristan's got more kills from punching someone than any other than with weapons. I don't think
Tristan
I've
has more kills punching people than I have kills ever. Like at all.
Yeah, Ryan, I have, 8 kills on Bangalore and 7 on Lifeline. And
how do you only have that many kills?
And here's the thing. Half of the kills on both of those characters are from me just punching people in the face.
I hate you. I think I'm up to 40 now on Lifeline.
I think that's more than...
I'm at 1 with Wraith. 1. And Wraith's the only character I play.
I've gotten a lot of downs. I haven't gotten any kills.
If you get it down and they get killed, then you get the kill.
Yeah. But that never happens because I down someone and then I'm 3v1ing and then their whole team is just on my ass. It happens so incredibly often that I'm like just trying to loot something and then the entire team of 3 is right on top of me all together. And it's like, we just landed. Why are you together like that? You're not going to find anything, but they found enough to beat my ass.
Yeah. That's something I find irritating playing with Josh. When I'm playing with Josh, he goes ahead and skates ahead. And it's like, okay, that's cool. But he sometimes goes too far ahead and runs into a group of 3 together and then gets royally fucked. And it's
I noticed.
Josh, why? He does like 40 damage to all 3 of them combined, maybe, and then he's dead. And it's like, that was useless.
I noticed any time we drop with Josh, the first one to find people and engage is him.
Yes.
Even if one of us is closer, he's the first one to start shooting.
And not looking for them. He's like just oblivious to everything, and then suddenly is engaging the whole squad. He's like, I'm firing people, I'm getting shot at. And it's like, how? How is that possible?
Meanwhile, there's 2 people standing next to me, and none of us have taken a shot.
Does that surprise you?
Yeah, that's true. Josh is like hyper engaged. Normally, I'm okay with it if I'm close enough because they get really distracted by Josh, and it's like, GG, easy kills. But then when I'm not close to him, it's like, Josh, that is a waste of a distraction.
I don't think I've ever thought that at all or done anything in that sort of regard because I'm always the one being shot at.
Yeah, Brian is the distraction.
I like playing with you too, Brian, because you also get shot at a lot, and then I get easy kills.
The only gun I've ever even winged people with, like for major damage, is the R301.
That's because that's just a very good SMG.
And the Scout. It's actually assault rifle.
The guns and the balance in the game needs some improvement. I don't think there's a good SMG in the game. There's too many burst weapons and they're all fucking shit and I hate them.
That is not true.
The 5-round burst does fucking work.
The Hammerlock, that thing is a beast. I've got like a third of my kills with that thing.
Not Hammerlock, dum-dum.
Have any of you used the alternator? I've used it in shooting at someone, I think basically one real time. He didn't have a gun. He was running away from me. I put mag after mag into him, so much so that when I heard a sound effect, I thought I downed him. It just broke his shield.
I
the
have
hell-
a kill with the alternator.
What the hell's the alternator?
It's that
it's an
really
SMG.
shit tiny SMG.
I
Yeah,
like
the
that
one that
SMG.
looks like it's folded in on itself.
Where it's got the magazine in the grip.
Hmm
The problem
Yeah, I
that
like
I
that
have
SMG.
with
It's
this
pure
game,
close range.
and
That's it.
pretty much all battle royale, it's kind of a battle royale feeling, I think, where it feels like it takes infinite amounts of ammo and shooting someone for them to go down, but you get downed in 2 hits, and it's kind of ridiculous.
This is the first battle royale game I played where I don't feel that's the case.
I feel
norm-
that's very much the case for me.
Normally when I'm engaging someone, I know when I should be not using my gun at the range, where it's like, okay, I'm spraying, and like I know you can see the bullets because of travel time. You're like, these are not gonna connect in meaningful ways. Like I need to stop and get closer or use a different gun. When normally I'm rocking like an SMG and a shotgun, so different gun's not really an option. It's like my SMG's not hitting, might as well use the shotgun.
The only issue I have with that game is I am an awful, awful sniper.
I'll agree
I
with
was-
that.
And I
I was
happen to
freaking-
pick up sniper rifles left, right, and center.
I was sniping with the scout iron sights, and I was decimating fools. I didn't down anybody, but I did like 100 damage.
I don't know how
Well, here's,
anyone
like,
uses
4
the
different
scout
dudes.
iron sights. I can't use them at all. I just
Well,
can't.
here's the thing. I actually think it was with you and Brian,
Yeah.
Caesar, that I just picked up a scout and killed 2 people iron sighting it.
The scout's a really satisfying gun, like iron sights or not,
No,
Because-
the iron sights are
The
garbage.
iron sights are pretty bad.
because you can. That's the sniper rifle you can spam. It's like, I kind of have a general idea of where they are. I'm just gonna dump shots downrange, especially if we got like an extended mag. The purple extended mag is like 20. 20 shots. Just
Yeah, 20-shot sniper rifle.
go away. Go
What
away.
I love about the triple heat, or what's it called?
Triple take.
Triple take. Is that you can shoot really close to them and it'll still hit them at least once.
Yeah,
Yeah, but isn't it shit damage?
it is not great.
I don't know. That's the game. I used that in the game that I did over 1,000 damage with. Like it was good for me. Like I like it personally, but
But we can all agree the Prowler is trash, and you should
I
never
love the
pick it up.
Prowler.
That's the 5-shot burst one.
Yeah.
What?
Remember that round where we were in that big square in the sky with Josh Tristan?
Wait, you were sniping with the Prowler?
No, I wasn't sniping with the Prowler. I had a sniper rifle. Remember when guys kept coming up and I kept decimating them?
How did you manage to use the
I
Prowler
was
for
using
that?
the Prowler without the mod that makes it automatic. I was using it with the freaking 5-round burst. It's because 5-round burst, if you hit them with 5-round burst, they freaking melt. The problem is hitting them with a 5-round burst. Also, the fact it eats ammo like crazy. It's
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh, I had 100 heavy rounds. I've been fighting for 2 minutes, and now I have 0. They're all gone. I downed one guy. I did it.
what I think we can all agree on is that the Spitfire is a solid gun.
Spitfire is a fan-fucking-tastic gun.
I
I
don't
love it.
even remember what that is, so
It's
I'll agree.
the heavy round LMG.
Oh, the
Never heard of it.
M60.
Yeah,
It's
that-
yeah.
it's M600, but I'm gonna call it M60 because M60 is bay. I don't really like using it that much.
No?
Its fire rate is lackluster for me. Like
yeah.
in certain situations, like remember when the squad was down the freaking hallway, Tristan?
Oh yeah, you just emptied
And
a
I just
whole mag and
emptied
fucked the whole squad.
a whole purple extended mag just into the squad, dropped them all. I was like, it works for me. But no, normally if I'm like engaging, I'd rather have even an assault rifle with a smaller mag. It's like I can do more DPS. I'm gonna win. If you're trying to M600 me, I'm gonna beat you. Usually.
In Titanfall 2, the Spitfire was terrible. Like it was pretty garbage.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well I
It was
wouldn't call it
working.
terrible in this game. It is very usable. I'm just not a huge fan of it.
Well,
I'll
yeah, that's
take
when
other
he said,
things.
"Oh, it's the Spitfire or whatever," and I'm like, "Oh, you," and then I used it. I'm like, "This is better than what I remember."
I've never used it.
There's been
You're missing
huge
out, boy.
changes to every gun. Most of them for the better.
I'm gonna be 100% honest. I'm not a super big fan of this game, but that's because I don't like battle royales.
You're a monster.
Again, yeah, I like it less as I play.
I like it more. I managed to get a win now. It was I felt like it was a worthwhile win.
Yeah.
Also, the round right after where we were just decimating squads that kept attacking us in their little hut.
Yes, stuck in this
That was crazy. A squad ambushed us. We killed them. Started looting them. Another squad tried to ambush us. Killed them. Although that one was kind of our advantage because another squad ambushed them as they were running away. So it's always a
we're
bigger
stuck
fish.
in this 6x6 room,
Yeah, it's
and
not good.
4 or 5 squads showed up, and the 5th one killed us.
Yes, they did. Misplace. They were misplaced.
Well, we were all kind of running out of everything at that point.
Yeah, because we couldn't loot anyone. Because every time we did, we just get shot at. It's like, oh, go away.
So I didn't really learn my lesson from last time.
What have you
What
done?
did you do?
Does anyone know when we started?
Yeah, 4:30.
Okay.
Okay, good. Someone paid attention.
Oh man.
God damn it.
Easy thing to say though. With the actual characters themselves, they're all very solid designs.
Yeah.
Like I don't think any of the characters look bad. Raj looks kind of dumb with all the suction cups on his suit, but
Look,
They light
that's
up.
for sucking.
They're like suction LEDs because they light up when he's using his abilitas.
yeah, it just looks like he's got a bunch of fucking suction cups all over his body, and that's just the one thing I don't like.
He self-identifies as an octopus.
All right, show me those 8. You know what's
Legs?
Penises?
No, only one's the penis.
Oh, you don't know. He might be an octocock, not an octopus.
It's the octopus. Just like my fucking TF2 bow. But they're all very solidly designed, and most of their abilities, with maybe 1 or 2 exceptions, I'd say work pretty well.
I really only played Lifeline, so I cannot judge. Because Lifeline is a pretty staple character.
Yeah.
Which is the problem is her not passive, but her active heal is really good early game if you haven't looted a lot of healing items. And that because really all you healing items take so long compared to shield items. I think there needs to be some kind of rebalance there. Or maybe make them heal more, something. Like if they healed more, if I took the same amount of time, I'd feel better about it. Because like when you use the base syringe, you get like maybe a fifth, a sixth.
I think
it's a quarter of your health.
25%.
It's a quarter?
Yeah.
It's a quarter.
Wow, it doesn't feel like a quarter.
Well, not when one shot can do like 50.
No, but yeah, it takes so long compared to shields. It's like, just pop a shield for friggin' like 3 seconds, good to go. Yeah, but her heal is really good early game, and then her alt it's a free loot drop.
Yeah.
I love feeding Lifeline those ult chargers.
Accelerants.
Yeah, when you find a bunch and you just, like the whole team just feeds them to.
Literally just throwing them at her face.
As a Lifeline, I approve this message.
It's it's like that fucking gif of the chick just taking a pack of hot dogs to the fucking dome.
No one's
seen this.
Oh, that gif where she's just like got that weird face, and that there's just it's like kind of in slow motion, and there's a shitload of hot dogs flying into her face. Yeah,
just a package full of cold hot dogs in the face.
I have no idea what you're referring to. Good to be honest.
Oh my god, it's that's a thing. Oh wait,
I'll have to look it up.
But the only other one I would say their abilities kind of need to change is Pathfinder. Now I like having a grappling hook. Yeah, I put the gif I'm talking about in the chat.
I was about to say that.
What the fuck?
You've never seen that before?
No.
Should that be marked NSFW? I'm not sure.
But the Pathfinders. I love his grappling hook. It's really fun to use and satisfying when you use it with proper momentum. But when you're in the middle of a team fight, your ability isn't really useful. Yeah, you can pull people towards you.
You can use it to gain, like, you can gain momentum and change position and go on top of buildings and get the high ground and other shit.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
I think
absolutely.
you're underestimating the potential of a good what the hell is it
Yeah.
called? I forget.
Possibly,
Pathfinder.
a good Pathfinder, possibly, but I've yet to see anyone use it effective, which is fair. The game's new.
That guy that got above us on that bunker place, it probably was a Pathfinder, and that's probably how we got up.
Probably.
And that fucked
That
us over.
ambush. That ambush actually fucked us over so hard.
However, how good would you say his ultimate is? Which is just
Situational.
just from his yeah, the problem is you can't make every ultimate like super good. Like Lifeline's ultimate is like just a free care package, and the only time that's not good is if you're like fully decked out, and then it's like, well, it's pretty likely you're not going to get anything
Or
even
if,
better.
like, you don't have a good place for it, and so, like,
Yeah,
it's not exactly the stealthiest thing in the game.
that's true. But
I mean,
then
you say that, but then half of the people's ults are literally just dropping artillery strikes on areas.
Yeah,
so, like,
those kind
yeah,
of.
there's 2 artillery strike.
I don't like the artillery strike ones. They're just so mediocre.
I don't even understand them. Like, are they supposed to be lethal? Like disorienting? I've never been killed by one or even damaged by one.
I don't know about Gibraltar's. I don't know about Gibraltar's, but Bangalore's is meant to just heavily disorient, and it's very effective at that. I did get hit with it.
Gibraltar's is more for forcing people out of their position, because Bangalore's is a carpet fire, but Gibraltar's is a condensed AoE, and you just drop it in one area. But the problem with all of these is Gibraltar's shield stops them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Gibraltar. Yeah, no, nothing will affect you if you're inside Gibraltar's shield. It doesn't penetrate.
I mean, yeah, you won't take any damage, and your screen will still shake, but you won't take damage, and none of the other effects will happen if you're inside of his shield.
I thought about trying Gibraltar, actually, like just having a shotgun and then being able to like do quick peeks with that or something.
I keep trying him, but his Blackbeard shield is actually
it's awful.
Useless.
It's terrible.
It's
a terrible passive.
How much health does it have?
Not
infinite.
Enough.
Is it not? I thought it was infinite.
No,
it's not. It breaks. You can break it. Like I was freaking.
Wait, is he talking about the giant shield or the Blackbeard shield?
The Blackbeard
shield. The R903. The R903. I was just plinking with that from a pretty substantial range. I broke it in 2 shots.
Yeah,
2 or 3 shots. It's not a lot.
The few times I've ever played him, I've never had my shield break.
I mean, it also doesn't cover your whole body, so it's kind of...
No, it doesn't. But I used the scout rifle, and I don't know, 2-3 shots. Knocked through a Gibraltar shield and put him down.
Yeah, the scout is a good weapon to counter it, though, because if you get hit with a lot of damage, like the freaking, what is that giant side-loaded monstrosity?
Oh, the Kraber.
Oh, the Kraber?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 50 caliber?
If you take one of those to your shield, it's like, haha! But if a scout, it's like you take one of the shield, you go, haha, and then freaking 20 more rounds come and hit you.
It's definitely not good for rapid-fire weapons.
That gif is really distracting.
Stop looking at it, you freaking pervert.
Alright. However, I think we should move on to the next game.
Your game.
We can't go on about Apex Legends for a whole hour.
We could. That's why I'm putting a stop to it.
One final thing before we move on. I just want to point out that
it
was And with the battle royale genre, they're just like most of them are just kind of like shitty startup company cash grab things that are never ever fully released, and they're just buggy messes. Cough, PUBG, cough.
Oh, I'm
But
sorry. Did you say the culling?
Let's not talk about that game ever again.
the Culling 2 exists. Did you know that? How long was that
Let's.
game? 19
I wish
hours
I
before it
didn't.
died.
Mm.
Anyway, this game works on launch, and it's a free to play, and it works.
Well,
It was
okay,
developed
works
by
for
DICE.
the most. No, Respawn. Nice try.
Respawn.
Respawn.
Was it not? Why is DICE on the thing then?
Because Titanfall 2 is DICE's IP, isn't it?
It's
I don't know.
Respawn. Respawn made Titanfall.
Respawn?
Then why the fuck is
Why
DICE
the
on
fuck is
there?
DICE there?
Because DICE is there.
Because
Shut
they
your
probably
mouth.
helped because they're all part of EA anyway.
Oh,
That's
maybe.
true.
It's works for the most part. There's still some like lobby issues where
Well,
when you
EA
drop from a match,
servers, yeah, but
yeah,
it's
I mean it's
at the
it
very least
works.
polished. Like the
Yes.
gameplay and the
Yeah.
everything. Like
There's no
it's
game-breaking bugs,
yeah.
to my knowledge.
It
Well,
is
Anyway.
now
usually
if
the
people
best one,
ever
but-
come back in the future and watch this, they're gonna be like, "What do you mean there's no game-breaking bugs? Dude, I got this bug that happened one time in my 107,000 hours playing that caused me to lose the game."
107,000 is the best number I've ever heard in my whole life. That's how we should say numbers now, Yoda.
You are welcome.
But next game, Vermintide.
Yes.
Which
Vermintide.
one?
We've
One
all
or
been-
two?
2. Why would we be
Okay.
talking about 1?
Because it
Yeah.
introduced two, obviously.
Yeah, but one was bad.
One was not good.
It was good for its time.
It
Okay.
was good
was
for
alright.
a time, like
Yeah.
4 hours. What is my playtime in that game? I'm gonna look right now. What does Steam
I'd rather
say?
not look at what my
Warhammer and-
playtime is.
My playtime is 115 hours.
Steam. Holy Lord!
I don't know how you managed to put 115 hours into the first game.
I have 57 hours in it.
I really liked the first game.
Eh.
Well, how much time do you have in this one already, Brian?
43.
Brian, you have almost as many hours in number 2 as I put into the first one.
I have 40 hours in number 2 so far.
Only
number
got
2.
20.
Number two is a good game.
Are you gonna say anything more than that? It's just a good game.
That's it.
It's just a good game.
It's just
That's
a
it.
G-
It's
good
like-
game. GG, good game.
I don't think there's a
GG is a good
single
game.
thing in the game that they didn't improve. I don't think there's anything that they made worse, right? I'm trying to think.
No,
No,
I
yeah,
would say
everything was
everything's a
definitely
pretty-
improved.
Pretty solid upgrade.
Yeah.
Chaos Spawn boss. Definitely worse than just Rat Ogre every time. I see that.
See,
I wanna kill
Do
myself.
Michelle, bosses don't exist when I'm in the game.
That's good.
Oh,
'cause
Mr.
bosses make
fucking Carillion.
Yeah,
Mr.
Motherfucker over
Carillion?
here just... Yeah, Mr. Carillion.
the thing is, the problem in the first game was, I guess it's kind of very Warhammery. That basically you just
I would
get
hope so.
Are you gonna let me finish?
No.
I know where he
Go
was
on,
going
Mr.
with it.
Carillion.
You get fucked so fast. in
The
first game.
RNG, like you can do the same level, the same thing, and it's sometimes it can be super easy, or it can be just impossible, and you just get straight up fucked. And
Yeah.
like the rat ogres, it's like whenever you got them, and it's like when you got them in the mission, kind of would fuck you over, or sometimes especially like on the higher difficulties, that was such a big problem. And eventually it kind of, there's only like one thing to do, and it was kind of like, drink a strength potion, throw a bomb at it, and then just use the true flight arrow and like hit it a few times in the head and hope. Because
Yeah.
in the first game, especially like the higher the difficulty, the rat ogre's health would exponentially increase by a stupid amount, and they're pretty much invincible unless you did what I just said.
Didn't we have, like, straight up just a protocol for dealing with rat ogres in the first game.
Yeah, exactly what he just described. Everybody
Yeah,
chugs
just
strength potions, throws bombs, and just hopes for the best.
because I remember basically all of us just doing that in sync every time.
It was the only way. Once you got onto like the second highest difficulty, which is what we mainly played on. I don't remember what it was in the first one, but from that point to the hardest point, that was the only way to deal with them because they would one shot you. If they command grabbed you, you were fucked.
Though
And now
games
Brian just plays Carillion and takes half their health in a single strike.
And then I just hit them a second time and they die.
games like that do suffer from the difficulty problem. It's very similar to Payday 2, where the difficulty scaling doesn't make it more difficult as much as it makes it just more tedious.
Yeah, just
Like,
a little more annoying.
yeah, it is
Because it's
harder,
more.
but it's
Yeah,
not
but it's
fun or harder. It's just worse.
Yeah.
Although, once again, with the Vermintide 2 making everything better, especially
Sure.
in that regard.
Yes.
Because they added a bunch of bosses, and it's also like, I guess Simser's gonna have to talk about this. In the first game, like, oh my gosh, you removed it.
I had to. It was getting too much. I had to remove the hot dog gif.
Thing was, in the first game, like, again, you had to kill them instantly you had to throw everything you had, or else you would just get destroyed. In the second game, I think it's like possible to actually, fight them, just beat them down, like dodge, attack, and like do different stuff. And I assume like Simser's a tank, so I guess you know more about whether or not you can tank the bosses now, right?
So the thing with tanking the bosses is it's really difficult to actually tank the bosses until you're Ironbreaker Barden, a level 25, because then you can take the talent where your ult, because they've added an ultimate ability for everybody. It's just on like a minute and a half cooldown. It depends on which class you are, but it's around that. But your ult for Barden is just an AoE taunt. It just grabs the aggro of everybody for a few seconds, like 5 seconds or something, 10 seconds. And it makes you invincible, pretty much. But until you're level 25 with Ironbreaker, you can't taunt the bosses. So sometimes they'll choose to fight you just because you hit them first or whatever the case may be. But other times, they'll just completely ignore you until you can taunt them. But once you can taunt them, tanking bosses is it's relatively simple, especially if you play high damage, like boss specialized killing team.
Cough.
Then yeah, then tanking the bosses is 100% viable. If you're a low damage team, you can still do it. And the way I play Ironbreaker now, I've I have a build going that he's almost invincible, like literally next to impossible to kill. So tanking
Until you
bosses,
get pushed off a ledge.
yeah. Well, there is times where I have died. Like I got pushed off a ledge. I fought an entire horde on my own. That killed me. Fighting 6 Chaos Warriors solo, that killed me.
And that's also something that they improved upon was the uniqueness and the abilities of each of the classes. Because before, a lot of the things were kind of the same in a few of the classes. Some of the ways, like I guess some of the weapons are the same in this game, but in the first game they didn't have abilities. In this game they have abilities that like drastically change your playstyle when how you do it. And
Well, it's not even just the abilities. Each character, because there's 5 characters, which is what I've been referring to as classes, but each character has 3 careers, which are like subclasses to the character, and each one has their own ability, like ultimate ability or whatever, they have their own passives, and they have their own talent trees. They also have different like specializations.
They also
With
have
the other,
different values for health, and they also have hidden passives. Like, I don't know if it's just me, but like, I don't think I have very much like, because my current build, I'm not really having movement speed things, but I seem to run faster than everyone. In the first game, everyone was just kind of the same speed, same everything. In this game, people have different pools of health. People have, again, with all the passives, it changes how they work, and it makes them more unique, and it's really good.
yeah, the one I don't know so much about the other classes, but Barden is like the epitome of his careers drastically change how you play him, because your first career is the hunter, and you're kind of like a specialized ranged character whose ability is to go invisible for a while, which is good for survivability. It's kind of bad for your team though, because if you have the aggro of a bunch of people and then go invisible, they just aggro track to the next person, like the next nearest person.
That's what I do.
Which
and it
typically ends
works.
up being me, making me explode.
Yeah, so that's him. His second class is like pure tanko extraordinaire. He's the Ironbreaker. He's damage reduction, extra stamina, which is what you use to block. He's did like tanko extraordinaire. And his final career is the Slayer, who's just all about hitting fools as fast and as hard as possible, but you're super squish.
That is one thing I like. Everyone has a tank variant.
Yeah, every character has the ability to tank in some way.
I would
Every class
say
also has a ranged variant. Because Kruber has the Huntsman.
Yeah.
No, I hate
Barden has the Ranger. Carillion has a Waystalker. Saltspire has the Bounty Hunter.
Bounty Hunter, yeah.
and then Sienna's first two are kind of ranged.
Yeah.
Both Bright Wizard and Pyromancer.
I would say that the Bright Wizard is more the ranged character, though, just because of her ability. Wait, the Bright Wizard's the second one, right?
No, that's the first one.
Battle
Okay, the
Wizard.
second one.
Bright Wizard is her distinction as a person or whatever. The Battle Wizard is the career, I think it's called. Right?
Either way.
I'm just trying to remember.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just the second class for
Yeah, the
Sienna.
Pyromancer is the more ranged version. With that
I would definitely say that one is the ranged version, the Pyromancer.
Flaming Skull delete button.
Yeah. But it's...
And also one of the best changes is the feeling of it, like the way the melee combat is.
Yes, they definitely improved on the fighting, which is good, because like the fighting wasn't bad in the first game, but it wasn't like it didn't feel as weighty as it does in this one.
No, you also all your weapons feel like they actually make an impact in this game, rather than I'm just swinging my sword through rat flavored air.
Unless you're using the rapier.
Yeah,
or you're against plague
and that's
vermin.
exactly what you're doing.
If you really want to feel weighty weapon though, Saltspire's flail.
Oh my god, that thing is the bomb.
When you hit something with that, you feel like you've just broken every bone in that poor rat monster's body.
You feel like Sauron. You're like, come to me, rats. Taste my flail.
Carillion's axe is also kind of meaty. It's kind of meaty feel. And
yeah,
the one time I played Barden, all I had was this two-handed hammer. When the hordes came, and he just was just charge attack, and then just do giant sweeps 180 degrees, just knock everything over.
Well, if you don't kill them, you knock them over. On top of, if you do kill them, you just ragdoll their bodies to whichever side of the screen that you've killed them. So they just go, you're sending bodies flying left and right.
Watching it happen is actually hilarious, because you just see a small iron speck that has just caused tidal waves of bodies to go into orbit.
Fucking Barden when he's in the wheat fields. It was funny, like when we first started playing the game, we could tell where Simser was when random rats started falling over.
That was honestly, I think, my favorite thing in the game probably ever. Just that whole mission and watching Simser play it.
So I pretty much exclusively play Barden, who is a dwarf, if that never came up before. And there's a mission called Against the Grain, where as soon as you start, you jump into a wheat field. Well, Barden being a dwarf, he's like short enough that you actually hide, like you're not tall enough to be seen over the wheat fields. And if you're looking at the character, which technically they are, you don't see an outline. So as Barney, you just disappear into the wheat field and you start hacking rats to pieces.
Speaking of, how well do you see in those wheat fields?
I actually see pretty fine.
If you crouch, you can't see anything, but if you're just there, you can. It's okay.
Yeah, it's actually not too bad to see in the wheat. Like sometimes it gets a little weird, but in normal, like under normal circumstances, I don't have any issues seeing through it. But yeah, Vermintide. Also, the greatest improvement they've ever made is to the loot system.
Yes.
Oh my god, yes.
The loot system now is actually worth playing for.
Well, isn't there the loot system plus the whole blacksmithing system?
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole inventory, items, weapons, is all of it was, everything is better.
Yeah.
Yes, this is 100% true.
Like complete upgrade in almost every respect.
And especially, it's kind of like, even if you get complete shit, you don't get what you want, whatever from playing it, it's still progress because you can break things down and get resources, and then you can just make like the best equipment that you can have at that moment.
I like how making it makes it to your character's level.
Yeah.
So it's not like you don't go, oh, a powered level 10 item, great, just what I wanted to build.
Yeah.
And now for me, actually, I don't know how it works exactly, but I've made orange level items.
I've made orange level items.
I think it's random. I think that's just like a random stat associated to them when you create them. Because I've made orange items, but then I've also made green items.
Yeah.
Rip. I pretty much exclusively make blue. I have an orange halberd right now that I made. That when I block, I do 20% more damage on the subsequent swing, which is nice.
Off balance.
Yeah.
The trade.
Yeah, I end up making a bunch of fucking white items, and I hate it. I'm level 20.
The thing is, though, you can also upgrade them. So if you make the white item, you can upgrade it to orange, and then it'll be just as good.
That's a lot of work.
Oh, I know. It's just annoying.
Might as well just get good. Make some orange items instead. Why you gotta be a scrub?
I'm not actually sure what associates that.
It's when you're a scrub. That's what associates it.
Yeah, well.
Blowing myself up too many times in the missions. Fuck this guy. He gets white items.
Yeah. There's also some interesting tech you can do in this game. Like, the one that is apparently, like, makes the weapon the strongest in the game is Kruber's halberd. If you do the first swing, do a block cancel out of the animation, you can just cycle that swing over and over again.
So good.
And if you can successfully do that blockchain, you can decimate everything and anything.
Yep.
Just because of how the swing works.
Well, it does. It freaking helps that the middle thrust is pretty useless. Yeah. But the overhead is really good at freaking
decapitating people.
Decapitating, yeah. Downwards decapitation.
Yeah.
But no, every strike has armor pen, which is another good thing about the halberd.
Halberd, yeah. All of the axe-like weapons have armor pen.
Yeah, but that has to be one of the longest ones.
It's definitely one of, if not the longest. Carillion can get a giant two-handed axe.
Oh, it's glaive, yeah.
Yeah. They call it a glaive, but if you look at it, it's a giant-ass axe.
Yeah, but the moveset on the halberd, when when you're fighting a horde, yeah, you have to do the block cancel because if you don't, you're gonna have a bad time. But when you're doing like 1v1 or like tough smaller groups of tougher enemies, you can just spam it because it's so fast. It's ridiculously fast
Also,
for what it is.
The other thing is, you can do the first swing, dodge backwards, and do the stab, and you'll still hit them because of the range of the halberd.
Yeah.
The only thing that I think might have more range is Carillion can get a spear.
Yeah.
And the power attack is like this super long range stab. So I think that might be the only weapon that has more range than the halberd. But it's
Overall,
not armor piercing unless you're doing the heavies.
overall, though, my favorite part of this game is just the character interactions.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Like, man, the way there's 5 characters, but the amount of conversations and what they say to each other is just some of
Yeah,
it's
the writing,
so funny.
The writing
I don't
between
think I've heard
character
repeats
interaction.
yet.
I've heard a lot of repeats, but I've also played this. Like when we play the same 3 characters. I play Barden, Brian plays Carillion, and Tristan plays Sienna. So there's only so many things that you can hear before you've heard them all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
and we also stand in the lobby sometimes waiting for people and dicking around, so you
Yeah.
tend to hear the same. But yeah, during missions and stuff, when they say stuff, a lot of the time, yeah, it's like so new.
Yeah, I just last time, like 20 minutes ago before we started the podcast, in just that mission, I had heard 3 new lines that I hadn't heard at all before.
40
like,
hours into the game.
Yeah.
Simser threw a bomb to like block off a thing, but he didn't hit anyone, and then another character called him out for not hitting anyone.
Yeah, it was. I'd never heard that before, and it was great. In a kind of shit way.
A lot of the lines are just absolutely fucking hilarious. Everyone has jabs ready for each other. And then every now and then, I am blindsided by a line that shows one of these people actually care about each other.
Whenever you're low on health, they're very friendly to each other. It's like, oh my god, I'm gonna bleed to death, and everybody will chime in some different variant of, well, then heal yourself, dum dum.
Well, yeah, were you being sarcastic when you said friendly?
I mean, some of the lines
friendly in the way we're friendly.
Yeah, because sometimes it's like hey, it's like you've looked better, or and then what's the Carillion one? It's like is the dwarf drunk again when you like fall over and die?
It's weird though, because the characters, they're really like dickish to each other in the missions, but outside of the missions, if you're just like dicking around in the lobby like we do, almost all of the character conversations between them are like really like cordial, and like they all have like a friendly point that they're trying to make. Like one with Carillion and Barden that I always remember is she's poking at the fact that Barden left his home and isn't like really hurrying to go back there. But in the end, she's like, all I'm saying is I know what it's like to not want to go home.
Yeah,
Oof, right in the feels.
Because the thing about that conversation he's talking about is she kind of calls him out that he's a ranger searching for some dwarf hold or whatever, but
Yeah,
she
the
points
lost hold
out
of Carrick Zorn.
Yeah, he points out that she points out that he hasn't really made any progress and he's not really doing anything about it. And it's kind of like she figures out that he's not actually trying to look for it, and like he has ulterior motives. And Byrne was getting really defensive, and it was like, oh, what do you say, like choose your next words carefully? And then she's just like, I understand, and you have my sympathy.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that necessarily all the lines in the lobby are friendly, rather than just like, oh, what have you been doing?
Yeah, Gruber would like to have a word with you about friendly lines.
Oh, yes.
I love Gruber. Gruber's the best.
He's the butt of every joke.
Gruber and Saltspire's conversations with each other are literally, they make my day.
Oh my god. And then when Corellian's talking to Kruber about Saltspire, and it's like, why do you care so much about my relationship with Saltspire? It's because I have to listen to you two every goddamn day.
I like Saltspire trying to recruit Kruber into the order. Kruber's just like,
I fucking love when Kruber is asking Saltspire what he's like gonna do with his life when everything's over. Remember
Yeah,
that?
that's my favorite conversation that I've ever heard. Kruber and Saltspire they're chatting, and at some point Kruber's like, "So what are you gonna do after all of this is done? Go on to the next battle?" And he's like, "Well, what about after that?" Saltspire's like, "I do not follow." It's just like there's always another battle. It's like, oh my god, I do not understand.
In Warhammer world, there is always another battle.
There
I mean,
is.
But
the
when
whole
it
game's
comes
based
to-
on the end times, which is
yeah,
there.
the whole game's
There is
based on
no
the end of the world.
there is no other battle because it's over. That's
Well,
it at the end.
there is always a battle until chaos just comes and rolls over everyone, which happens in the books, and it makes me sad because they just killed off the world when it stopped making them enough money. Talking about Games Workshop, they as soon as the fantasy like Warhammer Fantasy stopped making them enough money in the tabletop games, they're like, well, release the end time books. The world is dead. We're moving on to Age of Sigmar. Have fun.
But hey, Age of Sigmar is now making the money again, and Age of Sigmar is not too bad.
No, it's all right, but I would just still prefer them to keep Warhammer Fantasy in the tabletop.
Thing with Saltspire though is I think he's the one and only character that actually doesn't have anything nice to say to anyone, except for maybe Marcus.
No, he.
Well, here's the thing. His nice is not a regular person's nice because he's a witch hunter, and their whole job is to kill witches and also the other races. And then he's teamed up with a witch, two other races, and his bodyguard. So it's like,
It's
however,
like he very clearly respects everyone in the party at this point.
yeah,
And
just because they're so
Oh,
good at
yeah.
murder.
and he even has a conversation with Sienna talking about how even though he's a witch hunter and it's kind of his job to bring her in to like execute her, like they have a conversation and he says that he would and does actually trust Sienna. It's just he doesn't trust her magic or whatever.
Yeah,
The really
only a
interesting
fool
thing
trusts the
about,
raging flame.
yeah, the really interesting thing about Saltspire though is he's actually the one that brought this team together more or less.
Yeah, he's technically the leader.
Yeah, because so he recruited Kruber to go and hunt Sienna to bring her in for a trial to Altdorf because she went rogue or something.
Yeah, she abandoned the Wizards College.
Yeah. And so I don't actually know where Carillion and Barden came into this, but Saltspire recruited Kruber to catch Sienna. And then once the end times broke out and then the vermin started destroying everything, Saltspire actually let Carillion, or not Carillion, Sienna go in order to, like, you know, fight and actually have a chance at surviving. So it's interesting that
Something else in kind of along that line is again like the characters and their stories, and it's never laid out, and it's never like it's like a lot of through their conversations and everything you can kind of piece together like who they are and what they're like doing, like why Carillion is still there, what Barden is doing, and all that stuff. Because it's never stated, but you get little snippets of this and that.
yeah, it's definitely the writing is definitely, I think, very well done.
If we had to give this game a score, boys, what would you throw at it?
Oh my god, you're making me rate the game.
Out of what? What is our
Let's go out of 10.
okay?
Can I do points in my numbers? Can I say like 8.5? Is that allowed?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So it's really out of whatever I want it to be out of. I control the decimal scale.
8.7359.
Yeah, you watch me. I'm gonna do it.
I
I would
think
say 9 for me
I think I
personally.
would give it an 8.
I feel comfortable because it's not. It is a fun horde-based game, which I love. Payday 2 was the shit for me, but it gets a little repetitive, which I mean horde-based games kind of do. I think I'd give it a 7.8.
So you basically have given it an 8. Don't you fucking
No, a 7.8. I don't think it's worth an 8, but I think it's better than at 7.5. It's a 7.8.
It's also hard
I'm
doing.
actually right there with Doomashell.
I got moisture in my USB charger port. How did this happen? I'm not even holding my phone.
How did you even? But
That
anyways,
was my sweaty hands.
I would give it about a 7.5 to whatever, but just below 8. Still, mostly because with these horde-based games, I find that there's not enough variety in terms of how to do it. Like enough unique missions. If it's always point A to point B, maybe with a boss thrown in.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I would totally phase out of existence. What did you say you're giving it, Tristan? Score
I'm
wise.
giving it a
Don't go the
7.
whole explanation.
7.5.
Okay. A 7.5. What does that average out to? What do we just give it on average?
On average,
a
about
9, a 8, a 7, and a 7.8. So I think
so
it
about
would,
an 8.
Yeah.
That I can live with that. This is
It's
acceptable.
the only thing is, if you could if you were really interested in this game, I think it's only like $30.
And it's gone on sale a bunch. It's in humble.
Yeah,
Well, it's technically $12 if you get the humble bundle.
Well, the humble monthly, isn't it?
Yeah, so $12 at minimum.
Yeah,
Even the
it's
collector's edition too, but whatever.
yeah. It's definitely worth if you were really into like horde games, it's worth $30, I think. But if you're just like kind of interested, it goes on sale quite often. So it's you and it goes on sale for like 50% off a lot of the time, or 60% off. You can get it for like $14. So it's not uncommon for it to go on sale. So if you were just kind of interested in it, you could wait for that.
It's
Although I
also
would
just-
say if you're just kind of interested in it, see if some of your friends are also kind of interested in it,
Yes,
because playing it by yourself is not fun.
I mean,
Also
it's still
playing with
fun, but it's not as fun, and it gets boring really fast.
yeah, this is one of those games that like for longevity and like amount of fun is always doing it with friends and like, doing silly stuff.
Let
Yeah.
that be the lesson from
And
this
also
podcast. If you want to
not-
have the most fun, do it with your friends.
Also, as a side point to Brian pointing out that it was the Humble Monthly, it's the Humble Monthly for February of 2019.
it's March actually.
Is it March?
Yeah, because they haven't.
Oh, right, they do it the month before the month.
No, it's the early unlock. So they
Oh.
have like 3 things from the next month, and you can get it early. And then
Okay.
once March rolls around, they'll put out the next stuff.
Wait, so if you do the early unlock for the Humble Monthly, you get Vermintide 2 this month, but if you do it next month, you'll get it anyways?
I don't know how it works.
Humble Bundle is a strange and mysterious mystery.
Yeah, I don't know. Alright, it's a good game. I recommend it. I think if you have at least 2 other friends, it's up to 4 players. So if you can get 3 others to play, it's a lot more fun.
Also, strangers are fucking terrible at this game.
That's also true.
Yeah.
It's rare to find people that are worse at this than I am. but
and he's
we've done
pretty fucking bad. I recommend it though. I recommend it. Get 2 or 3 other friends, and I think you'll have a good time. If you like horde-based games like Payday or Left 4 Dead,
It's also just a
Killing
very
Floor.
good game if you're a Warhammer fan.
there is that too. If you're interested in Warhammer or Age of Sigmar, it's definitely worth a try.
Also, how many games are we supposed to be talking about?
I've been throwing them out at random.
Until we
but-
hit 5:30, which is in a few minutes.
Yeah, 4 minutes.
All right. Well, in which case, how about I want to get one thing from everybody here. What is your absolute favorite game, and why? Why would you say it is the best one you've played?
The first.
Okay,
Played
do you want?
Warband.
Okay, wait. Do you want like my favorite game of like my whole life, or
Whole
my
life.
favorite game currently?
Whole life.
Because those are two different games.
I want
Okay.
the one that you've ever played. Whole
My
life.
favorite game
what
of my
you
whole
get.
life. Okay. I don't want to go first.
Mountain Blade
The,
Warband. That's my favorite game of all time. Mountain Blade Warband.
the first
Because
thing.
of what you can do in it.
Literally anything.
Yeah.
Not literally anything, but a
Also
lot.
the mods. Do you like I played the base game. I conquered the world, and then I started modding it. It had 100 times more fun once I started putting like conversion mods and like new things you can do, and like once you start modding it, that's where the game truly shines. Because like the base game is good, but the mods and the modding community for it are so strong and passionate that if you thought about like if you ever wanted to, if you're really into a Game of Thrones, there's a total conversion mod that puts the entirety of Westeros and Essos, whatever the other continent is. It goes in there, and then all of the characters are there. There's more characters because if there was only the name, like the main characters, that there wouldn't be enough characters. The places are there, the weapons, the armor, the fighting styles of all of the other people. It's all there. So if you're ever interested in that, you could do that. There's a Star Wars mod. There's a Roman mod for when, like, back in ancient Rome. It's just at everything.
All right. What about you, Brian?
So, the first thing that came to my mind, and I can't really think of a better answer, is honestly Witcher 3. It's to talk about it would be kind of beating a dead horse, but like there is a reason people rave and talk about it all the time. Like the game is really good. It looks good. All the story, just everything about it is. Well, I mean, there's a few things that aren't perfect, and the combat is not the best in the world, but it's still good and it's still fun, and it's just so incredibly just great, just at everything.
Do Michelle?
I had a game in mind, and now I have a different game in mind. I think I'm gonna have to say the original Dark Souls. That game was the shit. Just how punishing it was. It played faster than 2, but slower than 3. Like it played in a spot where I loved it personally. The connected world was superb. Like you could go to areas and see other areas you've been, and like just the shortcuts that would open up. They never did it the same again in 2 or 3, where shortcuts were made. Like 3, they gave you fast travel immediately, and did they do that in 2
I
as
think
well?
they did.
Yeah.
It wasn't immediate, but it was like within the first half an hour or an hour.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So 1, it was like, okay, eventually you get the item that lets you fast travel to bonfires, but you gotta work for it. But
Only
it's
some
not,
too, not all of them.
Yeah, only some of them. But
Yeah,
it wasn't
the
like
major bonfires.
it wasn't like, okay, I walked through this empty area for like 12 minutes to get back. It's there's this very convenient shortcut that gets me back to the main area where I can do all my shit. It was just so good. The boss design, it was great. Also had the best DLC of any game I've ever played in my entire life. Freaking fighting Artorias, made me want to never play another DLC because I knew it would just disappoint me.
Have you played the Ringed City DLC?
Nope, I haven't. I own
That is a butt fucking you will never forget.
it. Okay, that sounds like fun.
Also, the Manus fight in that DLC, like the final boss of the DLC.
Manus was a beast.
That fight, I remember that fight kicking my ass for like 2 hours. But when I finally beat it, it felt so good. Also, knowing the lore from a YouTuber called Vaddy Video on Manus made that fight so much more like
Intense.
enjoyable. Yeah, like the whole fight was made so much better by knowing the lore of him and what he did.
And Puppy Sif.
Puppy Sif is the best Sif.
That made fighting Civ so much sadder. I almost couldn't do it.
If I didn't know this at like when I first did the DLC, because I did the DLC on my character that had already killed Sif. But if you don't fight him before you find Baby Sif in the Void, or the Abyss rather, he remembers you when you go into the boss fight.
Yeah. You know what, Ryan? I knew that, and then I did it on my like 4th playthrough, just to like, oh, it's just so I've done it, and then I'm like, why did I do this to myself?
It's so sad. It's so sad. It like, oh my god, it's heartbreaking.
I almost just quit the game. I was like, I can't do it.
It's if you don't know what we're talking about, if you have the first game and the DLC, I recommend doing it on your own. But if you don't, look it up. Like, look up a video of it. It's so sad. It's crazy. Actually, Sif is one of my favorite fights in that game, anyways, just because of how cool it is, and that just makes it so sad. Like that whole fight.
Although I do gotta say the coolness factor and like the boss themes. Well, for the most part, there are some really iconic ones in the first one, like the Gwyn theme and stuff. But the third one, the music for a lot of the fights were just spectacular. Like even
They've
though the
always
boss
done the ambient music very well.
Yeah, and it's
just
like,
the boss themes, like the boss themes in the
Vor, even
so
though the
good,
boss was like just really easy and quick, it was like the theme was great, and then the Abyss Watchers, that shit was amazing.
The dancers got an interesting sound, like the music and her sound bits that she plays when you fight her.
She's also very quiet when she moves around.
Yeah.
Okay, Tristan, what's your favorite game of all time? Am I even going to know what it is?
You guys will have probably heard me talk about it, but I know none of you have even touched it. And that's because it is a character action game. I'm trying. Well, I have two, but I don't know which one to do. So.
Flip a coin. Let's go.
All right. I'm getting a coin. I don't have.
Oh my god, he's actually getting a coin.
Do Michelle, flip a coin for me.
I don't have any. Oh, I do have money. Okay, heads or tails, Tristan? It's heads.
For Revengeance.
There you go.
Okay, it's Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance.
I didn't really flip it as much as drop it, but there you go.
Okay, so not Devil May Cry 4. Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance.
That was a weird spin-off game.
It was an incredibly weird spin-off game.
Nanomachines, son.
From the very serious tone of Metal Gear Solid's geopolitical bullshit to I'm going to be a cyborg ninja and just slice the fuck out of everything, including gigantic robots.
Isn't there entire serious conversations between like robots and AI talking about being born from memes?
I don't remember that in Revengeance. That was probably another Metal Gear game, though. I wouldn't be surprised. Metal Gear has some weird shit like that in it.
I never played Revengeance, but I watched a YouTuber play it, and it looked kind of interesting.
It is an amazing game. It has some of the smoothest swordplay I've ever seen in a character action game. And on top of that, just all the fights are all the boss fights at least, which is what you play a character action game for, is just so intense and unique every time you fight them. Even in the DLC, or no, not the DLC, just before the end of the main game, when you are fighting Jetstream Sam, who is essentially the same fighting style as you, it's because he is the exact same as you and that he has all your tools that makes the fight so intense. The music, as soon as it kicks off from the start and Rules of Nature just starts pounding over you cutting a fucking Metal Gear in half, it just has you pumping the whole time.
Tristan, have you played Nier Automata?
No, because I don't have anything to play Nier Automata on, but I fucking want to.
Yeah, I feel like that's a game you would really like.
Oh, it is. It absolutely is. I want it so bad. I wish I wasn't poor.
Was the other game you were gonna say a DMC game?
Yes, Devil May Cry 4.
See, that's what I was gonna guess. That was the one you were thinking of, but
It's not the one that's simply called DMC, right? It's just
No,
4.
fuck that game.
Jeez.
Oh god, I
Okay.
hate.
Wow.
Fuck
that was a very
game.
violent reaction.
Fuck that game and everyone who likes it.
Wow. Ostracization.
Absolutely.
Don't like Hot Man Meet Dante?
I don't even care. It's not even the character. It's that they gutted the entire game and left it so bare bones and basic that I get sick thinking about it.
All right. I
Well, I
think this was
mean-
a productive podcast.
Yeah, it's been like an hour and 8 minutes, I guess. So we started an hour 5:30 ago.
Did you say an hour 5:30 ago? Are you drinking rum again, Brian?
No, but I
You
do
should
have.
be.
I do have. Well, I have these rum biscuits.
I
Rum
don't think
biscuits.
that's how that works.
I'll bring my
No,
vodka gummy
they're
bears on
little
next time.
biscuits soaked in this rum bottle thing. It's an excuse to eat alcohol.
It's an excuse to eat alcohol.
Who
I like
says you
that.
need an excuse?
He's got a point, though.
But anyways, thank you for joining us on another episode of the GoonCast. And we'll figure out what the fuck we're talking about next week. And have a good one.
Yes.
Bye bye.
Later.